um, um, summarize what the Look North focus was, I do want to also recognize that Jamie has been a big supporter of the Look North initiative. For the last 4 years, he really has been the lead on helping everything get started with Look North and also working with CDF as we became the lead entity for the delivery of the Look North report and action plan. So in saying that, I want to now walk everyone through our year in review. And I'll just see, does everyone see my screen? Yeah.
Hey, as we see it all, you might as well hit the slide button if you want.
Okay.
Can I just do one more reminder to everybody on to try to mute either your phone or your computer, because we are seeing a lot of mics open here, which is creating some feedback. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, so I'll just go through my report. In this report, we're also going to be showing, as mentioned by Jamie, some additional videos. Also, we will be asking for some of our speakers who will be presenting later on this week to provide a little bit of a summary as to what they will be presenting on, just in case if there's some of our attendees today that have not signed up for some of our forums later on this week. As mentioned, this is our online forum, and it's our year in review. Just a little bit of a reminder or summary of what our vision is for CDF and Look North, which is in Manitoba. And our mission statement is through leadership and community building, creating connections and business development, we unleash the economic power of Northern Manitoba.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you some water.
Okay. Yeah, just a reminder for people to press mute on their phones, on their computers. Our Look North report and action plan had 6 areas of focus. First of them was the Northern mineral and other resource potential, and the recommendations really focused on 4 of the industries. One of them was mining, the other forestry, commercial fishing, and tourism. And the intent of this recommendation was to say that we want to identify opportunities, take down barriers, and really grow these industries. Our second area of focus was the enterprise ecosystem of support. And as mentioned here, it was to develop a single window, multi-agency entrepreneur hub with wraparound services. This is going to be or has been in partnership with our other stakeholders, and also to build that entrepreneurial support as well, and to also inspire new enterprise startups. Our other area of focus was the housing challenges, to help address those challenges in housing. And one of the things was to look at establishing a Northern Manitoba housing network, but also to help put in place policies and regulations that will help support the housing challenges. Our fourth area, which I always say is a foundational thing for us, is the Indigenous engagement and partnership. And basically why I say foundational is because everything we do in Look North, really we have this in mind. As Jamie mentioned, over 75% of people in the North are Indigenous. And the one thing we always say in regards to our approach to everything we do is that we want to keep that in mind. Our fifth area of focus is education, training, and workforce development. And this is to help create employment opportunities through a labor market education pathways, and to also engage the youth in their education. Lastly, strategic infrastructure investment. One of them was provide access to fast and reliable broadband connection. Other was to prioritize infrastructure projects in Northern Manitoba. And the last one, which we'll be showing a video on, is to position the Port of Churchill and rail line to northern Manitoba as an economic driver with global market opportunities. Since then, we have the Arctic Gateway Group has really come to the forefront to help address this one priority. And saying that, we do have a video on the Arctic Gateway Group that we would like to show right now.
Hi, my name is Brett Young. I'm the general manager with Hudson Bay Railway, which is a subsidiary of Arctic Gateway Group. Hudson Bay Railway is a short-line railway serving northern Manitoba. So we provide trackage for Via Rail, and they have a passenger service to remote communities. We also supply critical goods such as groceries to remote communities such as Thicket Portage, Ilford, Pickwick, Churchill, and Bucketawagan. These locations don't have road access during the summer months. They just have winter road access during the winter. So they rely heavily on rail service.
My family has been here since 1948, and I've lived here myself since about the last 52 years or 3 years since I started the railway. So my dad had a bit of the wanderlust, so we kind of wandered out in Western Canada for a while. We came back. I ended up coming back to the Paw in 1965 and hiring back in the railway. My name is Michael Hearn. I'm a railroad engineer with the Hudson Bay Railway Company currently. As a locomotive engineer, we are allowed to work assignments and spare-board positions too. During the grain haul is a little different than regular time because most of these guys either set up a pool, so they'll go north out of here on a pool, first in or first out basis to run the grain trains to Churchill, right to Churchill. Sometimes they'll go from here to Slobodian, and there's 3 divisions actually to get to Churchill, 509 miles. So the first division is between here and Slobodian, 136 miles. Second one is between Gillam, which is mile 326, so 136 to 326 from Slobodian. And the third division is between 326 at Gillam, right to Churchill at 509. But on a regular basis, so year-round, we operate the trains to Finfon. Our crew still operate the line that goes to Bucketawagan. The crew members operate it, but it's owned by a different company from the junction just north of Cranberry over to Bucketawagan on mile 99 on the what used to be called the Sheridan sub. But our crews operate the trains. They own the track. The native people of Bucketawagan own that track.
Our goal as Arctic Gateway is to provide a sustainable supply chain through the Port of Churchill and be economically viable for Canadian goods. There's never been more opportunity for young Indigenous workers, and which we promote. Some of the really amazing things that we've had opportunity to be a part in. The biggest one was reestablishment of service to Churchill. We repaired all the washouts on the Herkimer sub and had trains rolling again. Some other big successes. We're working on our 7th grain vessel. Then we've had lots of small successes as well. So things like our water management program. We've got some drone pilots that are assisting in that. There's many success stories that we've had. Right now, there's vast opportunity in the north. We're really excited about our business. We have lots going on. We've had 2 successful work seasons, and our trains have been busy. We've been hiring and training conductors, pushing forward with the water management program to improve safety, and many other aspects at HBR.
Like opportunities for employment, endless. And I think if there's some willpower here, and this is one of the companies I believe in, is they came up here for a reason. They know it's only 600 miles from Hudson Bay, Saskatchewan, which is the beginning of the huge grain area in all of Western Canada. and all the way to Churchill. Now with the indigenous population of the north, with the people from Pagadawagan and other bands in the high Arctic owning some of that railway input in this railway, I don't think it's a big deal about making a differentiation between the two now. We're all basically the same. The same interest is to keep the railway running is the most important thing of all. And me being a long-term railroader, I love the idea that everybody's getting really interested, seeing that the possibilities for Churchill are endless.
There's lots of opportunity in the north and specifically at Hudson Bay Railway.
And I do want to recognize Andre Brandt, as you guys saw his name at the end of that video. Andre's the one that's not just done that video, but he's also done all of our other ones that we will be showing to everyone. And based on your internet connection, it might have been a little choppy, but I can assure you when you see the actual video with good internet, is actually quite nice, and we'll be having all those videos on our website. Now I'm just gonna continue with my presentation, and I'm hoping that everyone can see my screen. I'll take any thumbs up as a yes. Okay, so the next thing that I want to talk about is the authorization of Look North. And I noticed that Bryce is also has registered. Bryce has been our major contact with Western Diversification. I do want to recognize them and the federal government for their support of Look North, because in partnership with them, we were able to hire staff in fall of last year in 2019. And then in addition to our head office in Thompson, we were able to open up Look North offices at OCN and also in the Greenstone office in Flin Flon.
Hey, Ozzy, sorry, your presentation isn't up, Ozzy. Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, okay. Let me just free that. I'll just back out here and I'll just screen share. Share screen. How's that? Everyone see that? Good, perfect. Okay, thank you. I'll just go back a bit then. As mentioned, so we now have 3 offices, Thompson, OCN, and in Flin Flon. And we also have a very, very structured focus when it comes to Look North, when it comes to our staff. As mentioned, our staff was hired in the fall of 2019. And we have for our commercial fishing and forestry optimization resource person, as well as all of our Look North staff, a real focus on concierge services in the area of communication and marketing, business development, community building engagement, and information on access to capital and other resources for entrepreneurs, businesses, and communities. Currently, our Look North staff is working with approximately 59 individuals and organizations in 20 communities to assist them in the startup of small businesses and other economic enterprises. And this picture was a picture of our staff, including our loan staff as well as our administration staff at the Linkages Conference last year in the PA. Now, I just want to take some time to have our individual Look North staff introduce themselves. And at the same time, I'm going to have up on the screen the communities that each of them work with. So I'll start with Shannon.
Hello, everybody. I'm Shannon Goulet. As you see on the screen, my functional responsibility is to support youth programs and help create a culture of commerce in our youth population. I just want to say thank you for being here today, and hopefully we see more of you throughout the rest of the week. I want to acknowledge that we are on Treaty 5 territory, and I just want to say thanks to the creator for giving us this day to be here all together. I graduated from CED studies at UCN back in 2019, and a few months later I started work at CEDF. Very grateful for the opportunity. My heart is in the north. I have a passion to see it grow, and I look forward to seeing everybody and hearing all your exciting ideas.
Thank you, Shannon. And for anyone who wants to contact Shannon, we also have her contact information and her email here as well too. Next, I just want to go on to Stephanie Johnson. Stephanie works out of our Greenstone CFDC office in Flin Flon. So Stephanie.
Hi, everybody. Nice to meet you online. Hopefully one day we'll get to meet you guys face to face. As Oz said, I am fortunate enough to be the Look North Economic Development Advisor located in the Flin Flon office. And I am very well connected here with the Greenstone team, the Hub team. So it's actually been a really good fit. So any of your needs in this geographic region, feel free to stop by our office because any number of us can help you out. My functional role, as you can see here, is tourism. Tourism in Northern Manitoba, I strongly believe, is something that we need to focus on and grow. And recently, we've actually just received some training in experiential tourism that we are looking to introduce to all of you. It's the concept we have, or the vision that we have within our organization, is to introduce tourism to Northern Manitoba, and to do this virtually as well as face-to-face, in a way that we can bring pride to our culture, our history, and our day-to-day living.
Thank you, Stephanie. And we will be talking a lot about tourism, especially experiential tourism, on Wednesday. And we also will have Celeste give us a bit of a summary later on what he will be presenting on. Next, Ken Slobodian in our Thompson office, and this, of course, is his area of that he works in. And Ken, you want to talk a little bit about what you do?
Yeah, hello, folks. My name's Ken Slobodian, as it says, and I've been here for a year and a half now since the Look North started up, and I help facilitate small business, and I'm starting a mentoring program, a network, and just want to mention if anyone here has any interest in being part of that, or has some abilities that could help other business startups and stuff like that, please give me a call or an email. And other than that, I've been involved with the electric vehicle startup initiatives, and I'm the gentleman that sends you that newsletter every couple of weeks.
Thanks, Ken. And yeah, I did want to acknowledge those newsletters. They've been a very important piece of communication for us in regards to the different activities that we are involved in. We also have community profiles that we're now showcasing on those newsletters that we'll be talking about later. So for anyone who wants to sign up for our newsletters, just email Ken, or you can also email Leanne, and we can have that have you linked up to those. They come out roughly 2 a month, and I say they're a really good way to keep on top of what we're doing here for Look North. Next, I'd like to ask Kurt, who's also in our Thompson office, to talk a little bit about his profile. Kurt?
Hi, everybody. Good to see everybody here. My name is Kurt Thibault, and I'm working out of the Thompson office. My focus is mostly on funding sources and other support programs. I've recently become involved also in some forestry initiatives. I've lived in the North most of my life, and I believe there's a lot to offer here in the North. I'm from Leaf Rapids originally, and then I moved to Thompson, and I've been a small business owner just about all my life. Finally working for the government. And it's a very recent development for me. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to hearing what everybody has to say all this week, you know, and for us to develop some relationships because we've got to start working together a lot more. And I think that this is one real fantastic step in that direction. So I'm very excited. Thank you.
Thanks, Kurt. And the last person, we actually refer to him as a kid at times in the office, but Suraj is our Look North resource optimization staff person who works mostly in the commercial fishing industry that he has some experience in from up north, but also he's been doing some work with us in the forestry industry as well, and also in our communication area. So Suraj, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everybody. My name is Suraj Thati. I'm the lead consultant for the Look North Commercial Fisheries Optimization Plan. So that involves exploring new innovations, ideas and markets, and a whole lot of other things for commercial fishers in Manitoba. I also take care of the Look North communication strategy. A little bit about myself. I was raised in Thompson, and I'm a graduate from the University of Manitoba's Environmental Science program. And I've been here for almost a year now. I'm not at a year yet, but you know, I'm very pleased, and I was very excited. I'm still excited to have an opportunity in northern, where I was born and where I was raised in northern Manitoba, where I can make a difference. And this next coming days, I'm pretty excited to hear what everybody has to say, to everybody's conversations, and to get some good ideas from all of you.
Thank you. And I say if there's any of our Look North staff that you want to get in touch with, aside from their individual emails that's been shown, you can also just contact our office, and we can forward their contact information as well. So next, I just want to go into our year in review, to just touch on some of the major things that we have been working on over the last 12 months. And the first thing I'd like to start on is in partnership with the Intergroup Consultant and Western Diversification, we have created the commercial fishing strategy that will assist in the long-term sustainability of our northern commercial fishers. This picture that's showing here is one of many consultation sessions we had with our fishers. As you guys know, commercial fishing is one of the longest industries in the North. And I'd like to just call upon Chris just to give us an overview of some of the things that we've done in this industry. Chris?
Sure. Thanks, Ozzy. Well, CEDF plays a significant role in the Manitoba commercial fishing industry. We are probably the second largest individual investor in the province. We hold a loan portfolio of just around $11 million currently, and that services 700 fishers right across the province, right from Lac Brochet all the way down to Selkirk and everywhere in between. We have numerous working relationships with other stakeholders throughout the industry. Freshwater Fish Marketing Corporation, we have a good relationship that sends the payments for fishers on their behalf while they're fishing. We have relationships with private buyers in the industry that do the same for the fishers, assisting them with the payment. Numerous vendors as well as fisher associations. So we're really intertwined in the industry. Since we've taken over the loan program, we've dispersed just around $97 million in loans. So those loans are for a variety. It could be a few $100s for nets, all the way up to $40,000, $50,000 for a full fishing outfit or business. So regardless, it's a long way to 97 million when you're dealing with those amounts. So we process about 500 applications a year. And CEDF, what that means to a fisher as a partner is that we understand the challenges they go through. We understand the industry, especially current environment we're in. We work with them for loan deferral payments. We coordinate their payments through 30 different agencies throughout the industry, and that's our history. We've in the past, we've partaken in administered training programs as fisher helper, and with this new funding, we've developed a strategy for more development initiatives, including items that affect the supply chain, items that affect market development of different species. So with that, maybe we can either introduce the video or it was intergroup.
Yeah,
the video first.
Yeah, we have a video. It's not the full length video. That full length video will be shown on Thursday. This is a little bit of a teaser video, just to highlight what will be shown in greater detail later on in the week. So yeah, if you can run the video.
Yeah, and too, I'd like to again thank Andre Brandt. The lag time on this doesn't do this justice. Andre, to shoot this video, he spent a night in a trapper's cabin out on Sippawisk a few weeks ago. It was snowing when they came back, so I do thank him for the hard work and the effort, and it definitely translates to the quality of the video. So again, I want to thank him for that.
So our full length video on this is about, I believe it's about 7 minutes. And as mentioned by Chris, it highlights the night out that Andre spent there, but it really showcases the industry itself. It is an aging industry. We don't have as many young people coming in to the commercial fishing industry as we used to. But at the end of the day, it's a very rewarding industry, and through the video, we'll be highlighting that. Now, I just want to call upon John Osler. John from Intergroup has been working with CEDF over the last year to put together our commercial fishing strategic plan. And John will just give a bit of summary of what he'll be going into on Thursday. So John?
Sure, no problem. You took away the reference I can make to teaser, so I'm going to have to come up with some other sort of connection. But the as Oz pointed out, Thursday's discussion is going to focus on sort of outcomes and next steps with this commercial fishery opportunities in northern Manitoba. And it is a culmination of a bunch of work, some of which actually preceded the type of work that we did, or Intergroup did, along with CEDF and Look North, starting in about November, December of last year. So prior to then, the Look North plan identified commercial fishery as an important natural resource, obviously for the economy of the North. And the plan then had actually identified a handful of things that could be looked at to either increase volume or expand the species or expand winter fishing. But the other one was to look at sustainable value-added opportunities, things that we could be doing to add value to the catch that would increase the value in the marketplace and ultimately provide greater income. So on Thursday, I'm going to talk about the process that we collectively did to look at the current environment within Northern Manitoba, which, as Oz alludes to, you've got things like age demographics, cost structures, market structures, what you can actually get in terms of price. But within that process, there was an awful lot of engagement with fishers and with partners and other stakeholders to identify not only what was there, but also what could be there and what opportunities could we pursue. And then from that, we developed a plan. And and by the way, COVID showed up and changed some of the focus that we'd had at the outset. So the plan that I will talk about on Thursday speaks to sort of three phases. The first phase being sort of the very near term. What actions could CEDF and us collectively make to try to stabilize the industry itself as we walked into a much different environment that none of us expected we would be dealing with. The second phase looks at what can we be doing to support and encourage local and regional marketplaces to help encourage the commercial activities. The third phase is longer term, and it focuses how do we expand that to look at provincial and national type of markets. So on Thursday, we will talk about the plan, we will talk about some of the initial results, and then we will focus the discussion in the latter part of that meeting in terms of what else can we be doing. So what can we be doing to employ more people? What can we be doing to increase the value-added opportunities? But first and foremost, what we're trying to do is what can we be doing to increase fisher incomes? So I'm looking forward to that discussion and the opportunity to get more inputs and ideas from everybody as we go through it. Thanks, Oz.
Thank you, John. Excellent. Okay, so just going on with our presentation here. Let me just. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah, good. Okay, I'll just try this again. There you go. Next, we did in partnership with, sorry, it's not intergroup consultant, but with Western Diversification and with Nord City and New Media Manitoba as well. We are just in the process of putting together a roadmap to assist Northerners in the fast-growing digital media industry. As some of you guys may or may not know, about 90% of this industry, the jobs are being created down south. We feel that Northern Manitoba has a huge opportunity in this industry for good, high-paying jobs, and the intent of the strategy that we will be that we put together, which we'll be providing a draft of, is to talk about what that roadmap is. So, in saying that, I just want to ask Christian from Nord City and Dan from BitSpace to just talk a little bit about what they will be going over tomorrow when it comes to our strategy.
Perfect. Thanks, Oz. So yeah, just to back up a little bit, as Oz referred to, we're sort of in the middle of preparing that roadmap, sort of very tangible steps that can be taken to, realizing some of the potential of interactive digital media, sort of the creation of things like video games, apps, those sorts of things, which are now these days even more created through remote work than they ever were. So doesn't, you know, a remote work in remote location seems to make sense, right? So long as, of course, the sort of technical infrastructure is there to allow for it. So we are in the process of building out a roadmap. We've done, created a good old strategic framework that really rests upon ensuring that there is equal access to the technologies and sort of training available, the building of a talent pool that can make use of interactive digital media products and services, and that ranges from, you know, the K-12 environment, you know, things like after-school clubs, you know, integrating it into high school curricula, through to retraining, from other industries, or simply just to encourage the investment into interactive digital media tools like like the sorts of things that Dan at BidSpace makes throughout economies, particularly in those resource-based economies. So tomorrow, what we're going to be doing is breaking that down into those three areas: the equity and access, creating a skilled talent pool, and the creation of business and entrepreneurial opportunities as they relate to interactive digital media, working through some of the ideas that are already that we've already had through conversations with numerous stakeholders, and refining them to the point where they can be reflected in that roadmap that Oz referred to. So yeah, that's what we'll be up to tomorrow. But you know, it's the way I look at it, just to conclude, is that this is interactive digital media is not like all of the other industries, in that it can help part of any one of those strategies. So, you know, there's elements that go into fisheries, into tourism, you know, and so forth. So it's more of a horizontal play, whereas all the others might be a little bit more on the vertical nature. Okay, so that's it. I'll pass it now to Dan, who can take us through a real life example of what one of those companies looks like.
Hello, everybody. It should come as no surprise to everyone that I am talking about this. I'm quite passionate about growing digital media and pushing everyone into a mindset that allows you to really understand how digital media affects you and in your everyday job. BidSpace has been involved in a number of projects in the North, and I think a lot of people involved in those projects are on this call. From a practical application, digital media allows us to connect remotely, and it was really what is allowing us to even exist in some cases as businesses in this very new and unprecedented time. The idea of taking technology and connecting people and putting people into the story really allows for us to create meaningful experiences. Tomorrow we'll be talking a little bit about that. Real examples of how we've done that. You'll hear stories about me filling a van full of VR headsets and driving it into the North to put as many people into them as possible, which actually seems a little absurd today. But alas, last year there wasn't a virus that we were trying to contain. But also thinking about digital media from a practical perspective, telling your brand story, creating remote opportunities, and telling story through meaningful and empathy building capacities, putting you inside of the story, and taking people to the North digitally through remote tourism. So there's a lot of applications to how you can apply digital media, interactive digital media, video game technology, and simulators. And I think the North is a prime place for this to happen. Creative people live in the North, innovative people live in the North. Companies like my own, we can hire remotely, and we're really looking to build that talent pool up North and create meaningful projects. So really excited to talk with you guys tomorrow about what that looks like.
Excellent. Thank you, Christian and Dan. And once again, that's tomorrow at 1:30. And if you're interested, just email Leanne and she can get you registered for that. Another strategic plan that we did was the creation of the forestry optimization strategy for Northern Manitoba. This, along with commercial fishing, as many of you know, aside from hunting and trapping, are some of the more historical community-based economies in the north. And in saying that, we have a video that we wish to show on a pilot that we just did out at Titaspa Cree Nation to help a local sawmill operation help to address some demands for housing in that community. So if we can show our the sawmill video.
And my dad was very, a good inspiration for what I come to understand about how to survive and stuff. I purchased this sawmill about 5 years ago now, maybe less, because we have so much trees around here and then we have a housing shortage. So it's got to be a little step I figured. If I did some work on the sawmill, maybe it'll inspire the community or the chief and council to do something about it rather than always depending on other sources.
Favorite part about doing my job is sort of hard to say. I guess you could say I started in a sawmill at 19 years old. I have sawdust in my blood and I haven't been able to shake it. My name is Jason Powell. I'm the Chief Inspector and Manager for Central Forest Products Association. We are a lumber grading agency. We license sawmills to grade stamp lumber. We conduct monthly inspections on them and also monitor the HT program for CFIA to ensure that Canadian wood products leaving the country meet the HT requirements of the importing country. What we're doing today in Split Lake is we're trying to establish a series of grade rules that will allow rough cut lumber to attain a number 2 or a stud stamp. This is very important because the building code requires all lumber that goes into modern homes. Basically, the lumber needs to be grade stamped to have the assurance that it meets the quality specs for home building. Well, there could be a number of benefits. I mean, it's an opportunity that would allow local produced lumber to be used in locally produced homes. It's an opportunity to expand the education of the people in the community for the uses of lumber. Well, partnering with CEDF, I believe that their goal is to this is a pilot project to see whether communities will be able to saw their own lumber for their own use. There's always been sort of a housing issue in the north. This could be an avenue for which if we can provide raw materials for housing that are certified and employment for the communities.
Oh, some of the benefits I see that when I bought this sawmill was that people see that they can do what they want to do rather than just wondering if they can do it. And when they see me struggling, I'm hoping to show them that a little bit of struggle doesn't hurt anybody. The thing I wanted to get was to achieve was to get healthy, working on logs and stuff, and to be out there on the land, and at the same time to help people that might need a little bit of lumber, And then, to possibly have a spin-off, like I said before, regarding the sawmill. Well, how it came about, government agent by the name of Greg, he asked me about my sawmill, and then he had said that there was money with the sawmill projects or whatever might get started. And then through a proposal, he recommended a person to write up a proposal. And then from there, he got a hold of CEDF. As we talked at that first meeting, I noticed Oswald. He had in his eyes that it's like he hooked onto something that might work, and then that really got us going within our community. We talked about it, and we're hoping to achieve what we wanna do for the community.
The biggest thing I'm hoping that Jonathan can see is that there's a variety of different products that we can use or make with local materials that will be of a definite asset to the local community. I've also sort of talked about the rough grading or the grading of rough lumber, and that we can use these products in local communities and have them certified.
So I just want to call on Sean, of course, who along with Bill Henderson put together our forestry optimization strategy. She'll be presenting this on Friday. So Sean, do you want to give us a glimpse of what you'll be talking about? Oh, you're on mute still, Shauna. Oh, still on mute. Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
All right. Sorry about that. Thanks for inviting me to participate in your workshop this week. Like you said, I was tasked to put together the Look North Forestry Strategic Plan. And what I'm going to present on this week is the 6 strategic goals that I put together with the 9 objectives. And this was based on the plan. The plan is based on the study done by William H. Henderson Consulting and the findings from the Resource Stakeholder Engagement Report. So I will touch on the strategic goals this week, the objectives, how we're hopefully going to achieve the objectives for the Look North plan. Just a little background on myself. I've been a forester for 20-some years. I worked out in BC at the beginning of my career. Worked for First Nations in northern BC. Worked with many small forestry operations, plus some large-scale forestry operations. So I've seen all sides of it. I moved to Thompson about 18 years ago and worked for Manitoba government as a forester, and spent a lot of time in northern Manitoba cities, working with small sawmill operations up in Puckatawagan, different housing projects, and something I'm very passionate about, and I'm glad that I can participate in this week.
Thank you, Shauna. As mentioned, this will be Shauna will be presenting the strategy on Friday. Next, okay. Can everyone see my screen? Yeah. Okay. I'll just go back into this. Okay. So next, in partnership with Earth Rhythms Travel Manitoba and Indigenous Tourism Canada, we, in support and capacity building training and support for experiential tourism, we did a capacity building workshop for our staff to work with communities and entrepreneurs to identify and bring to market local community, Indigenous, and experiential tourism assets. That was just finished actually about 2 weeks ago. Our facilitator trainer, his name is Celeste Devar, who will be presenting on Wednesday, and I'll be calling on him shortly to provide to you a little bit of an overview of what he'll be going over. But before I do that, I just want to show you a video on Urban Head. Many guys would know him as a muskeg, but he has a gallery out in Cranberry Portage. Urban has been a long-term client of CEDF. We've worked with him since the early 2000s, and I felt that he really he's very talented carver, but also he works with a lot of young people in the communities, a lot of artists, to help showcase their work as well. He's well known. He's had a number of awards, and we just have this video on him just to showcase his work. Okay, if we can have that video shown.
You know, as an artist, you sit by yourself and you create. There's a lot of quiet, lonely times, but then again, it isn't lonely because you're active, you're creating with your hands, you're doing other things with your mind, and you can travel the world within that little one space. Yes, I was making a living doing this, but it was also good for me, which in the end is what it's all about. It's cleaning up this spirit so I can share these spirits and live on forever. My name's Urban Head from Cranberry Portage. This is my gallery. It's called Northern Buffalo Sculptures. I've been here for about 16 years on this corner, right on Main and number 10. Over 20 years ago, I started to carve. It was my way, just keeping busy and physically active, in my mind. It was a change of lifestyle for me, so I had to change some habits with other habits. So I started carving, and it started off as a hobby. Never thinking that I would become a gallery owner, an artist that have done things for the Olympics. I've toured overseas. Within the gallery here, I carve things like wood, antler, marble, anything I can get my hands on. You just work with what you have. And when I first started, it was I would take a picture and put a picture here, and then take the stone and try to make it look like that picture. There's no way that it was happening because this stone was trying to tell me something different. The inspiration to my pieces, they go back to when I was a little kid, having fun. I don't really have thoughts of that people are going to like it or not. It's like I said, it's just my way. I call it my medicine. And when I get carving, it's usually something that will distract me and experience them running into a bear, or taking a walk through the bush, or going fishing. seen it. I've seen the eagles. I've seen the bears. So I take my cue from a lot of nature, and a lot of personal feelings go into my carvings. For me to get to the point where I am now, where I can carve pretty well anything that that excites me, I find will the public seems to enjoy it. So I have no trouble selling my art. But to get to that point, yes, it's a whole different idea when you go out to sell your work, and now you become a businessman, not necessarily an artist. You have to learn all these things about marketing. You have to, advertising and promoting your work. So one of the things that I relied on was my family. My family, my wife, my kids, they encourage me, they help me. My grandparents, they help me. My mother, unfortunately, never got to see any of the things that I've done before my lifestyle changed, but her presence is always here. Every piece that I do, she's there. In fact, when I sign my name Musk on my work. And when I heard Musk in the household, I knew, that was my mother. And she said, more or less, pay attention. So that's sort of a tribute to her. I put a bottle over the top of my carvings, so that's my spirit. That reflects on my lifestyle change. I've been given that name, and I carry it with honor, and that's one of the things that go into my work. I'm very proud of what I do. I'm proud of my family. I'm proud of my culture. I've been able to provide for my family through my artwork for over 20 years. Not too many artists can say that. But again, it's a 24-hour job. And I'm very proud to say that I'm an artist, and I enjoy my work, and I enjoy working with other artists and have fun. That's the thing, is to have fun and enjoy yourself. Don't make it a job. If you can't think of what to put there, put it aside. Start another one. Another one here. This is another pipe. Going to be a head of an eagle here, but underneath here will be an elder or something walking out of the eagle's body here with a walking stick, the cane, sort of holding the cane like this. The foot will be right here. Again, you think back about when you start, and you forget sometimes about the people that helped you and guided you. It's been over 20 years, so there's been many people. Oswald Sawh was one of them. When I was first starting out, they were very supportive through their organization and helped me out both financially and in learning different things about marketing and doing this and that. He was always there when I needed him, and we still continue to be sort of partners when he needs an artist to come to do a display or something like that. I'll definitely drop pretty well everything and go ahead and do it, because you can't forget the people that helped you. I think all the carvings that I've done, right from a small little bear to a huge sculpture that we did for the Olympics, it was 9 feet high. They all have a little piece of me within them, and hopefully they'll go on and to inspire other artists. That's a little part of my story, and being an artist, I get to tell my story. Each time somebody is interested in a carving, there is a teaching within each and every one of the things that I do. I find solace in it. I'm very happy to be an artist, and like I say, a lot of people gave me the opportunity to be an artist, by supporting me, by encouraging me to go on. Don't give up.
Got to unmute myself. The North has incredible artists, and Irvin, definitely, as I mentioned, has had a number of awards over the years, and you can see from his work, it's just exceptional. So if you're ever in Cranberry Portage, drop by his gallery. I say he'll not only have work from his like stuff he did himself, but he also helps support a number of the artists in the region. He'll be showcasing their work as well. In saying that, I just want to now introduce Celeste Devar. Celeste is the one that took us through experiential tourism. Very knowledgeable in the field. It was an incredible experience for our staff, and Celeste will be highlighting what he'll be going over with us on Wednesday. So Celeste.
Thank you, Oswald. That was absolutely inspiring to see that video. Thank you, Andre, for putting that together and taking us into Irvin's world. It's a perfect way of capturing, I think, the voice of authenticity, which is the sort of the background to experiential tourism. Just to give you a little bit of an insight into what we did over the last 8 weeks, or last 4 weeks, 8 sessions, was to give the CEDF team, Travel Manitoba colleagues, and ITAC the opportunity to be in conversation around what is an experience? What would an experience in Northern Manitoba look like? Who are the storytellers, and how can we prepare ourselves to be able to have new revenue generating opportunities that travelers that are regional, from Manitoba, from Northwestern Saskatchewan, Northwestern Ontario, and international travelers be able to do things that reflect exactly what Irvin was doing, kind of culture, food, nature, opportunities that are there. I think if I was successful in doing what I was supposed to do, I hope that the CEDF team are actually in a really good position to be able to coach the development of new experiences in Northern Manitoba with people who are aspiring to share their story, and for whom they can be remunerated. So on Wednesday, what I will be doing is doing a short, about a 30-minute presentation to talk a little bit about experiential tourism, why it has promise for Northern Manitoba, and indeed for all of Canada. But I'll be looking through my lens. I am an experiential tourism operator, having lived 38 years on the south side of Riding Mountain National Park. 3 years ago, we moved to Nova Scotia, where we've taken up residence here. And what I would like to do is to make sure that during the presentation, the promise and the benefits of experiential tourism will become clear through the examples that I'll provide and some of the insights about what we've learned over the last 5 or 6 years. That 30-minute presentation will then lead into a series of conversations that we'll have that will be facilitated by the CEDF team members. We're going to explore 3 different ways of looking at how experience development potentially could take place in Northern Manitoba. I'm looking forward to that. This is an accelerating field. It is completely aligned with what ITAC is doing, the Indigenous Tourism Association of Canada. And there's no greater promise than what I'm seeing in Northern Manitoba in terms of what that potential is, both for Indigenous communities and non-Indigenous communities. So looking forward to Wednesday and sharing what I've been learning over the last 10 years. Thank you, Oswald.
Thank you, Celeste. And yeah, that's on Wednesday from 10 to 12. And if you're not registered for that, and if you're interested, once again, just contact Leanne Brown by email, and she can get you registered. Next, I just want to go on with hopefully everyone can see my screen. Just going over some of the other initiatives that were done. If you guys look at our website, you will see now that we have profiles of all of our 50 plus communities. This is the first half of our community profiles that goes into some more of the investment data that may be that businesses or individuals would be interested in, such as the population, the different type of businesses that are in that community, the growth, some of the labor force by occupation. This, as I say, is all on our website right now under investment opportunity. It was just completed. I want to recognize Ruth Mealy, who worked with our Look North staff over the last 8 to 10 months to put together these profiles. And these profiles will be updated on a regular basis as the information changes, so they will be kept current. And I say they're available for everyone who wants to find out a little bit more about our communities. We will be, as I mentioned, doing a second half of our profile, which will be more of a narrative on the history of that community, any historical significant events and so on that will complement the information we have on there already. Next, the Northern Harvesters Market. Some of you guys may know of this. It just took place in the late September, early October. And in order to assess local demand for commercially harvested fish and other Northern harvested products, we had facilitated the Northern Harvesters tables in Thompson, Flin Flon, and OCN. So in saying that, I just call on Chris to perhaps talk a little bit more about this initiative that just took place. Chris?
Sure. Yeah, it was a one-day sale in each one of these towns. We had Manitoba pickerel. We worked with the local honey producer as well as wild rice gatherer, wild mint tea, and birch syrup. So it was a lot of products, but it's a lot more than a one-day sale. We see this more as a starting point. And how this started was actually back in February, was a multi-department initiative. Came together initially as focused on commercial fishing, on how we could impact the industry and solve some of the challenges. And two main items came up. One was market development, and the other was supply chain. So this is a starting point in addressing market development. We've seen if a fisher was able to market all the species that they caught, their whole net, that would be a game changer. In some instances, they could realize 2 to 10 times the amount they would receive wholesale. So we wanted to explore that. We actually had fishers partner with us in March. They went out, they did winter fishing. They caught in around 1,200 pounds of fish. It was processed in Powell OCN. And actually within a couple of days, that's when the pandemic hit and we actually had to shut that project midway. So we were very, very, very close to having that process locally. As well, addressing the supply chain, we've seen that maybe a formal structure could help fishers as well as other producers realize a greater income instead of going wholesale or having to know somebody individually. So that's what we found out, some valuable information at these events, and we hope to evolve and grow on that initiative. Thanks.
Thank you, Chris. Next, in partnership with BitSpace Development, you guys just heard from Dan a little while ago, and the Manitoba Northern Sector Council, as well as Vallée and Hudbay. We are in the process. We started a little while ago. We're in the process of putting together Northern mining promotional video, which will highlight the different opportunities in this sector. Chris, I don't know if you want to touch on a little bit on some of the highlights of the video when it comes out.
Sure, and when we're saying video, this is a cross between like just how Christian and Dan were saying. There's a lot of initiatives that help dual industries, and we see this helping both the mining and the digital media industry. So this would hold a virtual reality component as well as a 360-degree component. So this could be used in career engagement, engagement for fairs, workforce engagement. It could be used in employee orientation and training, as well as tourism. The 360-degree video could offer remote tours of mining operations and that. So it definitely helps a few sectors, digital media and mining being both of them, and we're excited to be able to show that when it's completed. So thanks.
Thank you. Hey, and in partnership with the Churchill Regional Economic Development or CRED Fund, along with the Thompson Chamber of Commerce, Sub-Zero North, we're just in a process of working with these stakeholders in regards to the creation of a sustainability plan for the Winter Weather Testing Center of Excellence. That's due to be completed sometime in the fall or spring and fall or spring and summer of next year. Also, in regards to New Media Manitoba, we had just finished partnering with them and the Northern School Boards. And in August, with the help of one of our Look North staff, Shannon, delivered the digital media game camp for students grades 7 to 9. The intent of the camp was, of course, to showcase the opportunities to these young people in that industry. In partnering with UCN, the Mining Academy, Ballet, WEM, and Employment and Training, we've been working with 3 communities, Thompson, Slobodian, and Tataskiak Cree Nation, to deliver the Wilderness Safety course. This combined with essential skills and life skills, we were able to introduce these individuals to different opportunities in the natural resource industry. And for some of them, they're viewing this as a prerequisite, of course, for individuals who want to go into prospector training. The picture is of some of our graduates, of course, proudly showing their certificates in that course. And then in partnership with Outland, Sustainable Forestry Initiative and the Arctic Gateway Group, supporting the Outland Youth Employment Program. Some of you may know this program. This year, there was a total of 18 youths participating from 11 First Nations in Manitoba. The 6-week program combines remote, of course, due to COVID, with face-to-face learning at Egg Lake. The training was focused, of course, on providing capacity building and experience in careers in the natural resource industry. Some interesting statistics with OYEP, call it OYEP, but Outland Youth Employment Program. Very successful program. I believe it just completed its 20th year of operation. 80% of Outland Youth Employment Program participants went on to complete high school, compared to 63% of the general population of Indigenous youth in the same age group. 39% of Outland Youth Employment Program participants complete some form of university, compared to 13% of the Indigenous population. So the very successful program with a long track record. In the picture, we have our couple of our Look North staff, Shannon and Jim, along with the graduates and the instructors from that program back in August. And for those that can't see the video, because there are some people who are joining us by phone, I just want to read out a couple of the testimonials. One from Neepin Cook from Mississippivistic Cree Nation, first year participant, mentioned, I learned a lot throughout all of the camp, but what has really stuck with me is that letting people into your life can be really good for you, and also keep an open mind for new opportunities. I learned I really liked working in the bush. I want to tree plant and take internship with forestry companies. OYEP gave me a new perspective and respect for forestry. I learned that there are companies that do care about traditional grounds in the industry. If I had my wish, I'd like to be hired in a city, but then also make my way back up north, helping other communities. Being productive every day really helped my mental health. Being at camp just made me feel at peace with myself. I hope to attend Red River College to study hydrology. And our second testimonial from Elisa Young from Chimawan Cree Nation. Through OYEP, I learned that the forestry industry is considerate, not only about getting the job done, but also make sure they do their work safely and in a way that no people or animals may be disrupted. Forestry interests me the most because I always want a way to give back to the earth, and through this I feel I can. I think the ideal candidate for a job in forestry is someone who cares and is dedicated to making our forests better. And my favorite part of the year was the mining activities and going back and seeing my old tree planting block from last year. We are also partnering with Rockcliffe Metals in the process of conducting community consultations in the communities of Norway House Cree Nation, Norway House Community Cross Lake Band, Incorporated Community of Cross Lake, Mississippi Cree Nation, Town of Grand Rapids, Moose Lake Cree Nation, Moose Lake Community, and Bowen for future Rockcliffe mining initiatives. We're hoping to have these consultations completed either late in this year, but with COVID, we're looking at more early in 2021. We also did a fish helpers training program, and this was in partnership with Western Diversification and Manitoba Commercial Fishers, providing opportunity for up to 50 individuals to get capacity building opportunities in our Manitoba commercial fishing industry. This is actually our second time doing this, and Chris, I don't know if you want to touch on this a bit.
Well, it was originally about 4 years ago, we partnered with Employment and Training. This was for either underemployed or unemployed individuals to obtain training. We would pay the trainer to provide the training, 2 weeks worth of training. So it would be a training subsidy. And at that time we had 233 individuals go through the program. So we were helpful, it was encouraging results. And that was for both open water and winter fishing. So again, this past time period was cut short due to COVID in March, but we hope to pick it up sometime in the future. Thanks.
Thank you. And lastly, just want to touch on non-timber forest products harvesters training program that we started back in the spring of this year. Once again, COVID cut this a bit short. We were able to, with the help of Andre Brandt and also from Rodney Forbes, who was our trainer, where we have videos of the actual harvesting practices, the sustainable harvesting practices that will be also put onto our website. And this was, of course, in partnership with Western Diversification and Forbes Forest Finance, provide community-based training for individuals and groups to allow them to participate in the harvesting of non-timber forest products at the community level. This, like commercial fishing, forestry, is a huge opportunity for communities who may not have a lot of other options for economic activity. This could be done at the community level, and you could have a harvester earn $100 to $200 a day over the period of 6 to 8 weeks, depending on whichever floral he or she's harvesting. It could make a huge impact in a lot of the standard of living for a lot of these individuals. And these were just some of the pictures of the different groups of people that took the training. So that's the conclusion of our presentation of our year in review. I do want to thank you for your attention, your participation. As you may know, many of our projects were delivered in partnership. We look forward to our continued working relationship with our many stakeholders and community supporters. And as I mentioned, over the next 4 days, we look forward to getting feedback and ideas on the future focus of Look North. In saying that, what I'd like to do is, since I know that we are a little bit behind schedule, if by all means, if you have any questions, you can phone us, email us, text us, and we would be more than willing to discuss anything in our presentation. Of course, we're all also around the next 4 days. But in saying that, I want to pass this over to Chris, who will introduce our guest speaker from Shopify. So Chris.
Okay, well, I'm definitely excited to introduce our next presenter. I'd like to thank Sheila North for making that connection. I'll have to be honest, when Ozzy first told me that we were having a meeting with Shopify, my initial reaction was just wow, because what they've done, what the Shopify has done as a Canadian tech company in the last 16 years is definitely incredible. They started at 5 employees and currently 16 years later, above 5,000 employees. They're in 175 countries. They have over a $1.5 billion in revenue. And just recently, they overtook Royal Bank as the highest valued company on the Canadian Stock Exchange. So I think I'll let Crystal fill you in all the details, but definitely want to set up and let's give her all a virtual warm welcome to Crystal Hunt from Shopify.
Ozzy, can you stop your share screen?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Oh, I'll do that. Oh. Oh, there you go. Okay, good. Oh, still on mute.
Video's there, but no sound. Are you muted, Oz?
No, I'm not muted. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Yeah. It's just a volume, Crystal.
I think she dropped off here, so.
Is there a way to use your phone, Crystal, and you could call in?
Can you hear me?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes! So good. Okay, we didn't lose too much time. Thank you.
A lot easier too.
Thank you so much for the time. I have my fellow pup here. He would like to say hello as well, but I just want to say thank you for the introduction. Chris, that was incredible. And yeah, Shopify is growing, very big, Canadian success story, but I do want to just sort of bring it back down to our mission and what Shopify is really doing for people all over the world, entrepreneurs, in terms of just inclusive development as it relates to reducing the barriers to entry into entrepreneurship, but also as it relates to economic recovery strategies within the workforce itself as well. So I'm going to talk to you folks today. Thank you so much for giving me your ears. I really do appreciate it. I'm going to be basically taking a two-pronged approach and just sharing some of the work that Shopify has been doing as it relates to reducing the barriers to entry, again, from one end, as it relates to starting, growing, and running and growing a business, as well as reducing the barriers to entry into the workforce. So I'm just going to quickly get set up here to present. I have a quick little presentation. Just want to check in on the time. Oswald, are we okay are we ending at 4:30? I can't hear you. I think you're muted now.
I don't know if there'll be a hard, Crystal, on the, well, 4:30 your time because you're in Ontario, of course, 3:30 for us because we're running a bit behind. So I think if we need that few extra minutes, I don't think that will be an issue.
Okay, sounds good. So on that note then, please let me know if you can see my screen. Oh, fantastic. Okay, so first and foremost, yes, my presentation today, as I mentioned, is about the work that Shopify is doing in Canada and across the globe as it relates to e-commerce and digital trade and its role in inclusive development, both from increasing the number of voices in entrepreneurship, but also in the workforce and creating meaningful employment opportunities. But of course, before I begin, I do want to take this moment just to acknowledge the land on which I currently reside. I'm speaking to you from Toronto, Ontario, but I am indeed on a number of Indigenous nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabeg, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat people. So I just, this is something that we at Shopify recognize very much. We are committed to reconciliation and in many ways are moving forward in partnership with free, prior, informed consent. And we are really working towards building up these bridges. And as Oswald and Chris, you had mentioned, part of my work here is indeed to do this community development work, community outreach. And so through my efforts, I was put in touch with Grand Chief Sheila North, which has been a brilliant partnership so far. We're exploring other opportunities, sharing the work that we're doing. And she graciously introduced me to CEDF. And so I'm very grateful here today for this opportunity to tell you about some of the exciting work and potentially open up discussions in the future about ways in which we can work together and create opportunities. So quickly, Shopify. What is Shopify? We are the leading cloud-based multi-channel commerce platform for mostly small and medium businesses. And again, of course, you hear of the Kylies and the Yeezys of the world that use the platform as well, the Teslas. But really, this is a platform that's really to empower absolutely everyone and anyone to start a business with no business acumen to someone who has a brick and mortar and due to these unprecedented times has had has been forced to go into the online sphere. So we are, as of 2019, proud to be home to over 1 million businesses in over 175 countries. And again, so merchants use our platform, which is our product. The product is the platform, the software, to run their online businesses all over the internet, as well as in pop-up shops and in brick and mortar, so multi-channel. And it allows a merchant, an entrepreneur, to run their entire business from one single location. And as I mentioned, our mission, I really did, it was a great introduction, talking about how big Shopify is becoming, but really what we are focused, we are a mission-driven company. So although we are growing, we are focused on making commerce better for everyone. So our product, our tools, our services, our approach to commerce and digital trade enables people to achieve independence. And we do so by making it easier for folks who have no possible education in business or education in entrepreneurship to start a business from scratch. Because truly, fundamentally, we believe that the future of commerce has more voices in entrepreneurship. And so, and here's how we lead into, not just the entrepreneurship side, but also the employment side, because, with more voices on the platform, we must indeed have more voices building the product. Otherwise, how can we be sure that what we are building is indeed applicable or relevant to the folks who are using the platform? So we are also committed to building a Shopify that has more voices and truly just being, seeing entrepreneurship as a proxy for independence. We want to be part of that change. We want to lead that change, and because we believe that with more entrepreneurs, it's just a better future. And so what is the strategy? we believe, like right now, Shopify and e-commerce in general is in a unique position, especially given COVID and the way in which business is conducted these days, to enable success, both from entrepreneurship and employment. So with the power of our product and our mission to make commerce better for everyone, there's 4 major elements, which I actually heard today. And it's so inspiring to hear about the work that everyone here today is doing. I feel that we're very much already aligned with how we are like creating partnerships, huge part of what Shopify is doing, engaging in educational opportunities, both for youth and folks who potentially are looking for a new career. Perhaps they're losing their jobs. So Shopify has a 4-pronged approach. Number 1 is that in order to enable inclusive development, again, both in enabling people to get into entrepreneurship and to thrive and succeed in entrepreneurship, also find employment opportunities, number 1, we create unique and tailored access to the platform. So that means reduced fees for our platform. And this is working specifically with different groups. And I will highlight some of those partnerships that we've created with specific communities or groups of folks where we do indeed give unique and tailored access to the platform. Number 2 is inclusive hiring practices, which is actually how I came across Grand Chief Sheila North and Oswald and Chris as it relates to one particular program in which we are charting new waters as it relates to inclusive hiring practices. So there's that. Number 3 is unique and co-created culturally relevant education. Not something that we just do on our own. We partner with academia. We partner with local educational institutes. And we also partner with not-for-profit organizations. And then finally, of course, supporting youth. Youth are the future are the future. So we have, many programs that enable this group of people to have the skills to power e-commerce, right? We need more software engineers is really what I'm getting at. And so Shopify sees this, and we are investing in training and educating youth and others as well across the board. So what I'm going to do is just take the next few slides to talk about some specific examples of how we are doing this and how we are partnering with government, industry, academia, indigenous communities, and training organizations in order for us to achieve inclusive development. One thing I do want to pause and say is that with respect to rural and remote areas, Shopify has had a huge impact year over year. In fact, we're very data driven, of course. And last year we came out with our sustainability report in which we noted that in 2018, in Canada's, outside of Canada's 6 biggest cities, our gross revenue, or those merchants in those areas, their gross revenue was 1.5 billion, and that was in 2018, just using Shopify. This past year, in 2019, that grew to 2.4 billion. So it is growing very, very quickly, and we know that there's an opportunity for Shopify to really be at the forefront of ensuring that there are opportunities both in employment and in entrepreneurship for folks that live in rural and remote areas. So on to my next slide. I'm just going to highlight a few of these strategies and how we've shown up. So as it relates to increasing access or having tailored access to our platform, you may have heard of a program that we launched in partnership with the Canadian government. It's called Go Digital Canada. It has since sunsetted, but it was a response to COVID. We knew that as a company who has such a product that enables independence, that enables folks to start and run a business that keeps food on the table, that we had a moral responsibility to come to the table and come with a solution. So what we did was we partnered with the Canadian government to launch Go Digital Canada, which sought to bring thousands within a year, within 6 months, to bring thousands of small businesses and help them enter into the digital economy. So this was for folks who had at all levels of their entrepreneurship journey, whether they had run a business before, or folks, again, as I had mentioned, who perhaps had never needed to go into the online sphere. We had a tailored program that offered a 90-day free trial, brand new specific products that did not exist before in order to help them thrive. For example, curbside pickup service, We offered tipping services for like restaurants and things like that who could not do this before. We offered very specific training through a new product called Compass. And so this helped merchants go through very simple step-by-step modules in order to bring them up to speed very quickly on how to use our products. So this Go Digital Canada partnership, we realized that as this new demographic of merchants started to come onto the platform, those who had very strong business acumen, perhaps they had brick and mortar stores already, so well-established businesses, they needed very specific support in order to get online very quickly. So they already know how to run a business. They don't need somebody to train them on that. They need somebody to tell them how to bring their customer base on and drive them to their online presence now. Whereas beforehand, they never needed to do that. So they learned things like search engine optimization, online marketing tools, advertising, learning these huge platforms that are in fact outside of Shopify, like Google Analytics. And so what we created was a brand new team trained specifically on how to bring these new merchants on board to Shopify. And so they support these merchants. They're customer support. We call them junior support advisors, and they help empower merchants all over the world, thrive during this time, solving technical problems, and just being that moral support for them as well. And so in addition to realizing that, the demographic of merchants coming onto the platform was changing, so too do we blatantly recognize that the impacts of COVID has disproportionately negatively impacted certain folks. And of course, we all know this is, typically like underrepresented communities. And so we knew that we had an opportunity. Our mission is to make commerce better for everyone, reduce the barriers to entry for everyone. So who is the everyone? This was our moment to really make it true, make it happen. And so typically, when we put up a job posting, as you can imagine, the proverbial floodgates open and a very predictable demographic will come through, typically from metropolitan areas, right? And we knew that we didn't want that. We knew that we wanted to be very targeted, and we knew that we wanted to work directly with community to hear where is the most need. Hence my conversation with Grand Chief Sheila North and with Oswald and Chris. Rural and remote areas was one area of this program that we knew we needed to target. In addition, Indigenous communities, folks that belong to racialized groups, new immigrants and refugees, persons with disabilities, and gender diverse individuals. So what we did, what I was responsible for, was creating the strategy, the sourcing strategy that has never been created before, charting new waters with not putting any public information out there about this role and simply creating partnerships. Going out into the community, talking to 100+ employment agencies, community development organizations to talk about this opportunity and get the people who are participating in their programs to apply. And so this strategy of doing like this grassroots outreach and community development work has resulted in more than 300+ applications and hiring 100 people into our program, specifically from these 6 underrepresented groups. So with this intentional approach, like, we are truly able to help northern and remote communities via this grassroots engagement. Another piece of this puzzle that was integral, and when I came on to do this strategy, I said, look, if we're going to be this intentional with our approach, we have to do the hard work as well. We have to look internally at our processes. Are we a safe space for the people that we are specifically targeting to come to this company and thrive and work in? Will they thrive? So we are engaging a third-party Indigenous-led organization to indigenize and decolonize our onboarding, our hiring, onboarding, and on-the-job work experience, starting with our support organization first as a pilot, and then ideally, going company-wide. This agency and community engagement strategy is also something that we haven't tested prior to this particular role, but we obviously have had great success, and we will be launching this strategy to the rest of the company very soon, which means, again, as we talk about employment opportunities in rural and remote areas, Shopify is digital by default. And I think I heard a couple of folks earlier, Dan and Christian, you were talking about creating remote opportunities. That's what Shopify is all about. 75% of our workforce will not be going back in 2021 to an office. So that like almost all of our workforce will be remote in forever. And so this is a truly unique opportunity for us to work with communities and to work with rural and remote areas, to talk about these opportunities and to create more employment opportunities, and then engage even in the educational piece, which I'm going to get into now, as it relates not only to coding and things like Ruby and Java, to gain a position at Shopify, but also in entrepreneurship to create that opportunity of independence. So I'm just going to go to my next slide. So building again on the concept of increasing access and to support inclusive development as it relates to entrepreneurship. Over the past year, we've been developing our plan to create a global support system for Indigenous entrepreneurs. So what we did, again, all about partnerships, right? Like to realize this mission, we partnered with Indigenous-led organizations across Canada and New Zealand, including Raven, Indigenous Capital Partners, pardon me, sorry, that slipped my mind, Entrepreneur, Intifada Huka Huka, and Rise 2025. So together with our partners, what we're doing is we're co-creating locally and culturally relevant e-commerce education. And this is going to be available to all of our Indigenous identifying merchants, again, whether they're beginning their journey or well-established. We're offering free access to our platform for 6 months. We're also helping these partners who are like folks who help entrepreneurs build their stores, learn new things. We're providing them with financial assistance in order to best support these particular merchants. One other example is Operation Hope. This was a very brand new partnership that we've launched. And so our goal is by 2030 to create 1 million Black-owned businesses. And this model of supporting underrepresented communities is something that we are just absolutely committed to. And it manifests in terms of financial literacy, again, offering free subscription rates and education, step-by-step education to actually launch a business. Because we do recognize that, capital, although is often seen as, financial access, and yes, of course, that's a huge barrier to starting a business is the capital, but there are many other types of capital as well, social capital, educational capital, that, as we all know, typically underrepresented communities, there is that gap. So we are there to work with organizations such as CEDF, such as Hope, Operation Hope, to really bridge that gap. And I won't go into too much detail here. This is just, again, reiterating that we are partnering with educational institutes such as Ryerson, such as, oh, I forget the name, my apologies. Ryerson is one of the educational institutes that we're working, Algonquin College, my apologies. To offer, again, like local education. So we have Shopify Local, where folks are in the community directly working with merchants in that local community. Inez White is our Indigenous ambassador in New Zealand, for example, and she works one-on-one with merchants to help understand their needs and work with our partners, our experts, to fill those gaps. And again, about youth and computing education. So we talked a lot about entrepreneurship education. There's also, as it relates to gaining employment. So bringing together the idea of equitable entrepreneurship and education, we must also invest in youth, right? So we have a program, we have many programs, one of which I'd like to highlight right now. It's called Dev Degree. So this is a 4-year work integrated learning program, and it combines an accredited computer science degree with hands-on developer experience at Shopify. And so it's all funded by Shopify, 100%. Each student receives 45 hours of work experience, 4,000 hours of academic experience at Carleton, and 160,000 Canadian dollars in paid tuition. And we have a process of accepting applications that is completely blind. No names, no ethnicities, no genders of applicants. Everything is hidden to make it as most equitable as possible. We also focus on programs such as Stemming Up, which is a 4-week course in coding for high school girls in at-risk socioeconomic situations. So again, like, we recognize that, you know, automation, I think they say, I think Industry Canada let out a statistic saying that by 2036, 46% of jobs are going to be negatively impacted by automation, right? So we know that we need folks to be skilled in software development. It's a moral and economic imperative to do this. So we are committed and exploring opportunities in Manitoba's north and in the north across Canada is something we are certainly, you know, doing in other areas as it relates to those who have unique barriers to entry, including, you know, geography. So I just wanted to make sure to highlight some of those programs that we are committed to working on, and, you know, exploring potential opportunities afterwards as well. And of course, I just want to finalize. I know that we're almost at time here. I just want to end just by stating that all of this work, you know, is founded upon our global diversity and belonging strategy. This was launched last year, and it was a massive undertaking. We consulted with hundreds of employees across 13 different countries in which we have employees all over the world. And what this does is it makes our work globally relevant, so that we know that we are creating a workplace and a workforce that makes sense to the countries in which we are located and into the local communities in which we are located as well. And so this is going to be the foundation upon which we develop our annual plans. So that's headcount planning. That's the products that we work on that are culturally relevant, co-created with community. So launching program, and we are going to track our progress worldwide. And yeah, and that's really it. So I would love to, you know, I know we're at time again. I would love to continue the conversation, take feedback, questions. You know, my email can be made available to everyone as well. I would love to hop on calls to explore potential partnerships in the future as well. And I thank you so very much for listening to my spiel today. I hope that it was valuable. I do also just want to say, I wasn't going to talk about this until I heard it, but Irvin's story is what we are all about, right? That's what Shopify stands for. It's about sharing that, you see that passion in him, right? Sharing that value, sharing your culture and your knowledge across the globe, you know, an exchange of cultural goods. Like that's what this is about, sharing your knowledge in an unprecedented way to support. And he talked about support, encouragement. That's what we're here for. So thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Crystal. And I'm seeing a few people here wanting to connect with you. Maybe if you can send through our chat box your your email contact or phone number, so everyone has it. And in saying that, I think we do have time just for a few questions. If anyone has any questions for Crystal that they'd like to ask now, or they can by all means email her as well too. But anyone? No? Okay.
Ken is actually talking.
Sorry, Ken?
I can't.
Yeah. Sorry about that. The 2.4 billion you were talking about earlier, is that actual Shopify companies that started up? That's their sales, or is that what's been purchased from Shopify in Northern Canada?
No, that's their sales.
That's their sales.
Yes.
Wow.
Very impressive. Any other questions for Crystal?
I was going to ask, in some communities where they don't have very good internet access, is that going to be a stumbling block, or is there a kind of a low bandwidth options that are available?
long answer short, it is a barrier. We do recognize that it is a major gap. And in fact, we are contributing to the conversation around advocating to government to make more investments. Our head of government relations has in fact just last month contributed to a policy paper that specifically notes the importance. I think, he mentioned that projections and plans were in the 5 to 10 years, but since this pandemic has come, it's like 5 to 10 months that we need to be thinking about broadband investment. And so we've laid out what we think governments should be investing in, the timeline, the plans. We've made the arguments, and Clark Rabiter, he's our government relations head, he is at the table pushing for more investment to equalize, because this is a huge equalizer. And yeah, it's not possible without investment in infrastructure, for sure.
Thank you, Crystal. In saying that, if there's any other questions, I see Crystal's put her email address up on the chat box. And Crystal, I do want to thank you on behalf of CEDF and Look North for presenting information on Shopify. As I told Chris, I didn't know enough about, but I've been learning, and I'm glad that he brought all those numbers forward, because they are very impressive, so if anyone wants to get into touch with Crystal, just email her. In saying that, we are right on schedule. I will bring in closing remarks. We, of course, tomorrow, as a reminder, from 1:30 to 3:30, we have growing the digital media industry in the North, and that's where we'll be presenting our digital media strategy, as well as doing our breakout sessions. On Wednesday from 10 to 12, we have our tourism opportunities in Northern Manitoba, and that's where we'll be doing a deep dive into experiential tourism and some of the processes in place that we are starting to try and identify those community-based assets for tourism. Thursday from 10 to 12, sustaining and growing value-added opportunities in the Northern commercial fishing industry. And we will wrap up on Friday, November 6th from 10 to 12. That'll be Sean, of course, who will be presenting on the expanding community-based opportunities in forestry. So if anyone wants to participate in those that have not registered yet, please contact Leanne Brown at lbrown@cedf.mb.ca, and she can get you registered. And in saying that, it's now 3:30. I want to thank everyone for their attention, their time, and their participation. And I wish you all a good day, and we'll be talking to everyone throughout the week. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Nice to meet you all.
Thanks,
Bye.
Crystal. Hey, Dave, you want to stay on for a second?
I can do that.